What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday night Q&A hangout, coming off of a fun, stress-free victory. Kansas City Chiefs and just a non-stressful game. I don't really remember what that's like. It's been a little while. But yeah, they handed it to the Ravens. Okay, the Ravens were dealing with injuries and all that on the defense. I get it, but the offense looked great. Mahomes, 4 touchdown passes, and then the defense. Spags in that defense, I mean, they just really held it down. I do want to turn my Wi-Fi on just because sometimes my computer be doing funny stuff, so the connection should stay fine and stable, but I forgot to do that before going live. Yeah, I think it was a great game. Of course, it got out of hand at the end and in the Chiefs' favor, which is great for us. That hamstring injury, by the way, of Lamar Jackson is legit. He's going to miss a game, maybe 2. So he was dealing with some sort of a hamstring strain at some point during that game, which it kind of makes sense because at the end of the third quarter, when they pulled Lamar, or when he didn't go back in the game, it was a 17-point game. But had the Ravens scored on that drive, it would have been a 10-point game. That's still somewhat manageable if the Ravens could get some stops on defense. Now, the thing is, the Chiefs were kind of wheeling and dealing and doing basically whatever they wanted on the offensive side of the ball. Worthy looked great upon his return. Travis Kelce caught all 5 of his catches. He had 5 targets and 5 catches. Juju started coming alive a little bit later on. It was a great game. I'm very happy. I'm very encouraged overall. And then what the defense did. What Spags and that defense did to the number 1 scoring offense coming into that game, they were averaging 37 points a game, and they only allowed 13 until Lamar Jackson and some of the starters left the game. At least, I think some of the Chiefs' defense had some backups in because Joshua Williams was in there and ended up chasing down, I can't remember the running back's name right now, that housed like a 70-something yard touchdown there near the end. But yeah, it was just a great convincing victory for the Chiefs, and now they take on the Jags in Jacksonville on Monday Night Football. And this team is interesting. That's a little bit why I was late. I was watching more of the game. Here's what actually happened. I was watching the game between the Jags and the 49ers, and then I saw the time. I was like, it was like 8 o'clock. I was like, I got time to eat real quick, and I'll take Casey out and all that. And I should have just skipped dinner probably and ate after. But that's what I get. It's like guy time. I feel like guys are just always like, yeah, we got time. It's fine. We'll just make it happen real quick. It'll be quick, like 5 minutes, and then it's like 15 minutes. Maybe that's just me, but that's how it goes sometimes. But yeah, the Jags team is very interesting. They're 3-1 in the AFC South, tied with the Colts at 3-1. They lead the league in takeaways. They have like 13 takeaways through 4 games. 3 turnovers, 4 turnovers, 3 turnovers, or something like that. In all these games that they've played in, they have some great guys on both sides of the ball. A lot of you know who Travis Hunter is, Brian Thomas Jr., the quarterback. ETN, their running back's looking really good. He had a 48-yarder against the 49ers last week. They've also played like some kind of just interesting teams. So, yeah, their defense is great. Their offense is more middle of the pack, but they've played the Panthers, the Bengals, but that was the game that Joe Burrow got hurt in early, so Jake Browning finished. They then played CJ Stroud and the Texans, which, I don't know, that defensive line for sure is really good. And then they played the 49ers with Brock Purdy dealing with turf toe. He looked okay out there. He's missing throws. And then the defense for the 49ers, they didn't have Nick Bosa. So they didn't look great, to be honest with you. Fred Warner is awesome. They got some great pieces. It is much respect to the Jags. I don't know if they're as good as all their stats indicate, and to certain degrees just because of who they've played. Bryce Young, Jake Browning, CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy dealing with turf toe and missing throws. I'm still not going to sit here and say, hey, we're going to be able to just breeze past this team. The Chiefs are like 2.5 or 3.5 point favorites on the road. I don't think the Jags have played a team as good as the Chiefs so far this year, and it's going to be a very intriguing, interesting matchup for sure. They're good, okay? But it's just when you look at the record and you kind of look at the context of some of the things here at hand, like the turnovers that they have accumulated over 4 games, it's not sustainable at that rate and that frequency. Meanwhile, the Chiefs on offense are typically pretty good at mitigating turnovers and not doing anything stupid. Mahomes' one pick on the year is Travis Kelce's bobble at the goal line turned INT. So that's the only turnover that the Chiefs have had. I'm not ready for like a score prediction or anything like that. I'm still kind of studying the team. I want to watch the rest of the game, maybe watch one more of their games. But I like Trevor Lawrence, Josh Hines-Allen, like Brian Thomas Jr. Like there is a bunch of guys over there, and Liam Duval Cohen over there, changing the culture, first-year head coach over there with them. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with my thoughts. I would just kind of love to hear yours. Any thoughts you have from the Ravens game or anything like that, let me know. Jennifer, thank you so much for the 15 bomb. We had a request for a Trevor Lawrence appearance at the top of the stream. A Trevor Lawrence appearance? I don't even remember what that means. What does that mean? He's like talk like this. What's up, guys? It's Trevor Lawrence. That's the craziest thing to me about Trevor Lawrence is he kind of looks like Sunshine from Remember the Titans, but he talks like, oh, what's up, man? It's Trevor Lawrence. Hey, man, we'll be slinging a pigskin. Like, his voice is 2 octaves deeper than mine, which is absolutely insane. Jennifer, thanks so much for the 15 bomb. FLDB with the 10 bomb as well. Baldrin Besh carried the name of Clan Besh, sworn to the... What is this? He withstood sieges where others fell. Among Mandalorians, his name came to mean unbroken loyalty. This is the way? Okay. Bro, I was like, what am I reading? I've never seen The Mandalorian, whether that's good or bad in your guys' eyes. I've seen Star Wars. I've seen the main 7 or 8 movies, but I never have seen a single episode of The Mandalorian, so maybe I should. And I'm sleeping on that show. Baby Yoda looks cool if that's what he is. But yeah, I'm sleeping on that. But with all that being said, FLDB, guys, if you were in the stream, the game stream, we've got some progress made on this helmet. We're going to turn the Mandalorian into a Chiefs wielding looking helmet, dude. I can't wait for that. So I'm definitely stoked for that. Daniel Akers with the gifted. Let's go, man. Thank you, guys. Cole, 2 more games till Rice is back. Yeah, that's another thing. Rice can return after the Jags, after the Lions. He's back. He's back for week 7 against the Las Vegas Raiders. It's funny, I DM'd Rice. He had a story today on Instagram, and I just DM'd him and said, what did I say? EGE, brother, or something like that. And he just replied back like 20 minutes later, EGE, exclamation point, exclamation point. That just means everybody got to eat. It's kind of a thing that a lot of young Chiefs Twitter is running with, but Rice has it in his bio now. Everybody got to eat. You've got like Tyquan Thornton reposting it. I think Mahomes reposted or retweeted something that somebody said about EGE after the game. So it's kind of a little movement getting ready for the return of Rashee Rice. But in the meantime, everybody kind of did eat for the Kansas City Chiefs last week against the Baltimore Ravens. 37 points, 4 touchdown passes. Let me think off the top of my head. Juju caught a touchdown pass, almost had 2 if it wasn't batted down. Pacheco got a touchdown pass. Thornton got a touchdown pass, and then Hollywood Brown got that touchdown catch on the 4th and 1, which was awesome. So everybody got to eat. And then I talked about this in a short form piece of content earlier this morning, but most of you know by now that Tyreek Hill suffered a very gruesome knee injury last night on Monday Night Football when the Dolphins were taking on the Jets, and he dislocated his knee and tore multiple ligaments. He's going to miss the rest of the season. Some of next year is probably in jeopardy, even though his agent said today the goal is to rehab and get back and ready and playing in the NFL at the start of the 2026 NFL season. That is a very tall task because he not only tore his ACL, but he either tore his MCL, his PCL, his LCL, or a couple other ligaments in his knee. on top of that. So it was very gruesome. Such a tough injury. It's going to be very hard, I feel like, for Tyreek Hill to come back from that because he's going to be 32 in March. And then obviously you're not getting any younger. And what Tyreek Hill has been able to build a very successful NFL career on is his just freak speed, agility, route running, and kind of combining all that. Because he's not like a big-bodied receiver. He's not going to go get 50-50 balls. That's not his cup of tea. His cup of tea is smoking you off the line of scrimmage or scaring you deep and just super crisp, sharp route running using that track speed and agility. And so I do have some concerns that he won't look himself even if he tries to return. But hey, all in all, I'm going to wish him the best in his recovery. And I hope he could come back and make another return for the NFL. And I don't know what that looks like. I think the Dolphins could potentially move on from him in the offseason. Based on his contract, they'd have to eat a little bit of dead money, but we'll see. It was just, I don't really care who it is. An injury like that was a Tank Dell injury, by the way, from last year. Was it in the playoff game or right near Christmas, somewhere around there when the Chiefs played the Texans and Tank Dell tried to catch a touchdown pass? Remember the ambulance had to come out and all that? That was a similar injury to what Tyreek Hill sustained, but Tyreek Hill was like laughing and joking and clapping and waving to the crowd when he was getting carted off. That man is kind of a maniac for that one. He should come back and retire a Chief on a cheap deal. I think he will probably retire a Kansas City Chief, even if it's on a one-day contract, but I want to know why Patrick's holding the ball so hard. Throwing the ball so hard, or what does that mean? I don't know what that means. Is our receiving core more deep than the 2019-2020 Chiefs receivers? What's up, Ashton? Oh my gosh. I'm going to pull up Chiefs stat leaders. I just want to be able to pull it up so we can all look at it because I think it's pretty easy. I don't know. That was a really good receiving room. You want to talk 2019? I mean, look at some of these guys. We actually like processed through this question together not that long ago. We had Kelsey in his prime. You had Tyreek, Sammy Watkins, McCole Hardman. You had D-Rob, Pringle. So that was 2019. If we go to 2020, it's a very similar group, I think, for the most part. Kelsey, Hill, Hardman, D-Rob, Watkins, Pringle. Is this group deeper than who the Chiefs have now? So the Chiefs now have Kelsey, obviously, he's a tight end, but still. Rice, Worthy, Juju, Hollywood. You have Tyquan Thornton kind of coming alive. I think you could make an argument that it's similar. Not with like the skill set of players. Tyreek Hill is one of one in his own skill set, but I just think with like what you can do with this Chiefs receiving room is it's going to be very effective upon the return of Rashee Rice. The quick passes, shallow, intermediate, what he can do, bully ball, yards after the catch, Worthy to stretch the field, and he can do more than that, obviously, which we just saw. Stuff behind the line of scrimmage. Tyquan Thornton will be able to stretch the field. You have Juju as a middle of the field guy, zone coverage, QB friendly. Kelsey can do that, still at a very high level. It's tough. I don't know. I think one thing to note is the running back room might have been better then. One positive is going to be Brashard Smith. You need to increase his snaps. Like, Brashard Smith needs to play more. I just think what we saw from him was very positive. He's forcing missed tackles that Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco just can't hunt with the lack of burst rather, and then Pacheco with the lack of vision. You just see it every time on film. Pacheco is leaving yards on the table on multiple plays. He had the tough drop early, but he had a couple catches after that, and he did run like 7 times for 35 yards. It's a 5 average a pop, which is fine. It's not bad, but there were more yards to be had for sure. So, I don't know. That's interesting. I'm grateful that the O-line is starting to click and kind of mesh together. Trey Smith is a top 10 graded guard or top 10 graded offensive lineman per PFF. I don't necessarily always care about their grades, but I do kind of use it as like a generic metric to see where things are. And Trey Smith is a top 10 pass blocking graded guard or a lineman in the NFL. And I keep saying guard because I typically would measure their metrics with other players at their position, but no, I looked at tackles, center, and guards. And Trey Smith is in the top 10, which I thought was cool. Kingsley Suamataia is getting better slowly but surely. I feel like his losses are less frequent and less, like they happen way slower for the most part. He's looking really good against the run. Josh Simmons gave up a sack and a few pressures last game, but he's looking pretty good too. He's looking pretty good as well. So I'm definitely encouraged with the steps that the Chiefs have been taking. No, not everyone is into anatomy and physio, but Tyreek will be back. There's not a lot of examples of players that have come back from this injury. I think Chubb did it. Nick Chubb did it, but he was like 21 when it happened to him. And I think there's other players that have, but just skill position players that have to rely on the quick cutting and speed of Tyreek Hill. Maybe he will come back. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I will root for him and cheer him on, and hopefully he can. Trey was limping during the game as well. Hopefully nothing comes of that, said Brian. Yeah, I mentioned that in my recap video yesterday, but we don't have any access to the injury report, and every time you talk to Andy Reid, he's like, we came out clean with injuries, and then when he does his post-game presser the next day, he then says, I haven't talked with Rick yet, so I don't have any details on the injuries. He does it every time. It's not a surprise. It's not a secret, but it is kind of annoying because you just don't know until the injury report pops up. And since it's Monday Night Football, everything's a day late. So I think the injury report is typically Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with game designations on Saturday. I'm almost positive they push it all back a day. So injury report will come out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, game designations on Sunday. So just everything is delayed 24 hours from a typical Sunday game. Was that Hollywood touchdown Reed or Nagy? Not like Andy. Andy complimented Nags a lot during his press conference. Yeah, so here's what Andy Reid does. When the team does really well, he compliments the OC. When the team doesn't do well and has things to work on, they miss execution on certain things. When they lose, Andy Reid takes all the blame. Don't read into that. He calls the offense. He runs the ship. It's his deal. But he's a very good leader and will credit people when things are going well and then take the blame when it's not going well. Whoever called that particular play, I don't know, but Mahomes in the huddle said, hey, Hollywood, if you're open on this play, one-on-one, you need to win because I'm going to take a shot to you downfield on this 4th and 1. So I thought that was pretty cool, and he obviously won his route, and it was a touchdown that pretty much ended the game. But I understand what you're saying, that Andy Reid doesn't normally go for kill shots like that, and I was just as surprised as you guys were. Hannah with the 5 random thought. Noel Williams is currently my favorite in this draft class. His aggressive play style reminds me of Snead. Andy Reid seems impressed too. Heck yeah, Hannah. Thank you for the 5. He's been playing really well. It's a bit of a limited sample size, kind of like Rashee Smith. They've been slowly working Noel Williams in a bit more, and they've probably been working him in more than they anticipated having to do that initially because Fulton has been injured with the ankle injury and hasn't really played. So who else are you going to go with? Josh Williams? Probably not unless it's an emergency. Najee Johnson is still on IR. You have McDuffie and Jalen Watson, and those are your primary 2, but there are times where one of them either will need a break or Trent McDuffie will need to kick into the slot. And so yeah, from what I've seen from Noel Williams, he's looking great. He's graded out really high. He's one of the highest graded cornerbacks in all of football right now. But again, his sample size is a lot smaller than some of the others that he's competing with. Still, though, great progress from him. Want to see more from him, just like Rashee Smith. I want to see more from him as well. Meg with the 5. Thank you. When Tyreek was clapping, smiling, and waving from the cart, did it seem like it was his last ride in the NFL and he knew it? Could have been the adrenaline. I think there's a bunch of emotions that go through you when something like that happens definitely adrenaline. Definitely, he was probably in shock a little bit. I just feel like Tyreek is also the guy that doesn't want to show weakness. So he has a very high pain tolerance, I'll tell you that, because it probably hurt like hell. I mean, I'm sure he was really, really feeling that. You remember when that happened to Tank Dell during the Texans game? I mean, it was a very stressful, emotional moment in time as the ambulance came out and he was in a ton of pain. I mean, Tyreek is a machine for that. He might be AI. I'm not really sure. There had to have been in the back of his mind, like, this could be it because of his age. But his mindset is he's going to work back and try to get back in the NFL and keep playing. So, yeah, maybe there's an element of that. I just think Tyreek didn't want to worry his teammates too much. And really, because of that, it didn't seem like the team was too stressed out about it in the moment, because Tyreek was like joking with the guys. He's like, it's fine. He's like, I'm going to be good. We're going to get me taken care of, and I'll be back better than ever. Kind of an attitude. And I think that helped calm things down for his teammates a little bit. Tyreek has seen so many videos of players crying while being carted off over the years, and that's their last on-field image. That's true. Yeah. What do you think about getting Nazi, FAU, and Janarius Robinson back? Do they have roster spots? So FAU was placed on season-ending IR. He can't come back at all this season, which tells me that hamstring injury he had is pretty bad. Nazi can return. Andy Reid was asked about that earlier this week, and he said they are doing better. They're working back, but he did what he always does. I haven't had a chance to talk with Rick Burkholder and Brett Veach about it, so I don't have timeline to return or anything like that. But yes, Nazi could find his window opening. And remember, when you open up somebody's window to return from IR, they have 3 weeks to be able to do so. It's a 21-day window to return. Then they either have to get placed back on the 53-man roster or stay on IR for the rest of the year. So you don't typically open up a player's window until you feel like they're just ready to go or very close to ready to go, even if you open their window and they don't play for a couple games after their window opens. Who was the other one? Janarius Robinson? I don't know. Is he still on the Chiefs, or did they reach an injury settlement with him? He might still be on the roster. Yeah, he's still on IR. I think he can potentially return, but I don't have any details for you on that one. Do you see a real route for Brashard Smith at RB1 by the end of year? When you say RB1, just because sometimes in the Chiefs offense, like, what does that actually mean? You just mean like the primary guy that's kind of takes Pacheco's spot and he's out there for most first and second downs, and then Kareem Hunt is your third down back and he comes in then? I mean, maybe. I just need to see his snaps keep going up like last week and them use him out there in any way that they can. I understand he only has 1 year at the position under his belt, but the guy is electric. He's dynamic. He actually forces missed tackles and can get to the outside and win. So you're going to have some growing pains with him too, most likely, but I am of the opinion that, yeah, I would like to see his snaps and his overall usage in the offense just go up in general, whether or not he's technically like one or RB1 from a production standpoint or not, because of also what he can do in the receiving game. Like, that guy, converted wide receiver, I mentioned that a second ago, but just tons of speed, burst, agility. Looks really good out there. Erwin Brown with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, man. Pepe said, what realistic running back could we trade for that you would want? Part of me thinks that if Brashard Smith shows enough promise and growth over the next few weeks before Rashee Rice gets back, they might just be like, that's probably good enough. You lower the snap count of Isaiah Pacheco, you increase the snap count of Brashard Smith, and then you have Rice, Worthy, and just more weapons at your disposal, which will open up the deep passing game, which will open up the middle of the field, which will open up additional opportunities for the run game. Now, I'm not just going to skirt your question, because like everybody's talking about running backs that could be traded for. Alvin Kamara and Breece Hall are 2 big ones, but the Jets just placed one of their other running backs on IR, and he's going to miss at least the next 4 weeks. Alvin Kamara, He would give you more juice. That contract scares me a little bit. I don't think there's much guaranteed next year. But yeah, so there are some options. I just don't know what the Chiefs are actually going to do. But yeah, Breece Hall would be awesome. If I said who we were talking about earlier, Breece Hall would be great. He has the most what is it? He has the most 15-plus yard runs in the NFL among any running back. He's tied with one other, and he has 6. You know how many 15-yard designed runs from running backs in the Chiefs room? You know how many they have that's over 15 yards? Well, that would be 0. That would be 0. Hannah with the 5. Brashard Smith value on special teams is underrated. He had 2 kick returns for 55 yards against the Ravens. The longest was 30. The longest was 34 yards, or the shortest maybe? Oh, he had 2 kick for 55 total. And then the longest was 34. Yeah, he is valuable that you could use him in the kick game, the return game on kick returns. And then it seems like Nico's your punt returner. He's not as explosive or electric by any stretch of the imagination, but he has really good vision. He has really good hands. He had a pretty good punt return. I think it was only 1, but it was for 15 yards in the game against the Ravens. So, yes, there is some special teams value that Brashard Smith brings as well. How old is Alvin, though? He's the same age as Kareem Hunt. It's not like any of these moves we're talking about for a running back, it's not necessarily like a long-term decision, unless it's Breece Hall, and he's on the last year of his rookie deal, and there's the future of your running back room. But I don't even know that they're going to do that or they might be happy enough that with Brashard Smith and how he looks in a few weeks that if they make a move, it's for a guy that's just in case of emergency. But if that's the case, I'm like, you have Elijah Mitchell on the roster already not dressing out. So use him? I don't know. It's a very interesting situation. I'm not extremely confident they do a ton to drastically correct the running back room, but I really hope next offseason they do. I really hope so. And then that combined with Brashard Smith just coming into his own in the offense, his own role, having his own value, just like Rashee Rice did the back half of his rookie year, just like Xavier Worthy did the back half of his rookie year last year. That would be great, to say the least. With Tyreek gone, there may be a fire sale of Dolphins players pretty soon, and coaches too. Perhaps, Meg. They did win last night for what that is worth, but yeah, maybe. Didn't the Fins already have a fire sale on the defense? I don't know. I think they've moved a couple pieces. They traded Ramsey away. They traded Jonnu Smith away. Couple pieces there. Where is Marshall Faulk? Marshall Faulk. When Rashee Rice is back, they might move Tyquan down a bit, but he might get a little bit of playing time. Yeah, I think Tyquan Thornton's overall snaps on offense will go down, but I think that's fine. They were playing a very high amount of snaps with Thornton, and I don't know that that's where his role is best suited, but you bring him out in some niche packages, you use him to stretch the field, he can be a more effective, potentially, MVS in this offense. And yes, MVS was out there a lot, but it just depends on the team. Like maybe against the Jags, their defense, you might see more Thornton because they play a lot of zone and they're very good in the middle of the field. That's where a lot of their turnovers, their takeaways, their interceptions has come from. They got a really good linebacker over there flying all around. He's got 3 picks on the season. It's Lloyd is his name. So this might be a team where you could stretch the field a little bit on the outside, and maybe Mahomes is taking a couple shots to Thornton because a lot of attention is on Worthy. We'll see, but it could be a little bit of game plan specific based on the week for Thornton as well. You could see his snaps go up a little bit or down a little bit, kind of depending on that. Trade Jawan Taylor for the right running back. Throw more in. Yeah, I just think that the Chiefs are pretty high on Taylor for one, but two, his contract is not extremely digestible this year. His cap hit's like $26 million. Obviously, it'd be prorated per game. I don't think they're going to trade Jawan. I didn't mind him last game at all because he had no flags. If you can limit yourself to like 1 flag a game, maybe at most, I think he's fine. It's when he's getting 4, 2, and those are back-to-back weeks. He had 4, 2, 1, 0. That's his flag count. I'm tracking flags on a weekly basis on Jawaan Taylor. That's where I am in my life right now. It's a sad life that I live. But I'm on a flag tracking quest, a weekly one for Jawaan Taylor, and he had 0 last week. Hey, shout out to Jawaan as well. He got engaged this week too, so happy for him for that. The Chiefs need to look out for, Josh Allen Hines, Trayvon Walker, and trade for Alvin Kamara or Breece Hall. Fine with me. Now, Trayvon Walker, he left the game pretty early last week with a hand or wrist injury. So we need to keep eyes on him because he's obviously an important part of their defense. I think he's 3rd on the team in pressures. I could look that up again pretty quickly, to be honest with you. But yeah, Josh Hines Allen is 1st on the team in pressures by a lot. He is definitely the guy that you're like, okay, watch out for that guy because he is the real deal. So if I look at this is on PFF. It's going to look a little funny, but I'll zoom in. Yeah, Trayvon Walker is 2nd on the team in pressures with 14. And then Josh Allen, Hines Allen, has 23, 8 hits, a 22.5 win percentage. Like, this guy's kind of a freak, dude. So in a true pass set, I mean, he's the real deal. So you're going to have to watch out for sure for Josh Hines Allen. Trayvon Walker, we'll see about his injury status. Emmanuel Ogbah, former Chief over here. Eric Armstead, former 49er. They got some guys, and their defense is playing well. What's up, Daryl? Jawaan got engaged to an NFL flag? Nah, his fiance. Trade for the best running back in baseball history? Okay. They are not trading a starting O-lineman. Yeah, that's exactly, Tad. It's going to be fine if Jalen Moore stays on the roster all year, Jawaan Taylor stays on the roster all year. Even if Jawaan Taylor, for whatever reason, because he keeps drawing flags would be the main reason, ends up getting benched at some point in the season, it's fine if they're all on the roster, because what happens if somebody gets hurt? Josh Simmons, like any of these guys, you've got valuable depth, which is something you lacked last year pretty bad, pretty desperately. And that's why you went through 4 left tackles, and one of them was a veteran that you signed after he rehabbed back from his torn ACL, and that was DJ Humphries, and he strained his hamstring 3 quarters into his first game playing. And so Joe Tooney kicks to the left tackle spot from left guard, and you know how it goes. That was ultimately a big part of the reason why the Super Bowl was not even close. Would they have still won if they had a more capable left tackle? I don't really know, but I think it would have been a closer game for sure and not a blowout bloodbath situation. So all that to say, yes, you kind of overcorrect a little bit with the O-line depth, but I am totally fine with that and on board with it. What would we love to see Chiefs spend a number 1 on, theoretically saying? What does that mean exactly, Denny? Like a first-round draft pick? What, when you say a number 1, are we talking like a RB1, a wide receiver 1, a first-round draft pick? Cole, what will Rashee Rice's role be in his return? I think the offense will funnel through him pretty quickly. Maybe not week 1, we'll see, but he's going to be in the slot quite a bit, and he's going to be used a lot in the intermediate, quick passes thrown to him. He's your yards after catch guy, and he's going to be a problem that defenses have to go in and game plan against to try to take him away. And where that creates some fun is because it takes pressure off of Kelsey. It opens up more opportunities for Worthy, maybe even more opportunities for the run game. It's going to help open up the entire offense, because if you look at the first 3 weeks of the regular season last year before Rice was injured, the offense was clearly funneling through him. He was like top 3, top 5 in the NFL in most wide receiver metrics because of how often and how effective not only he was targeted, but what he did with that ball when it got in his hands. And it's just going to open up a lot in this offense. Going to take pressure off of Kelsey. Juju will find some openings. it's just going to help all the way around. And that's why I'm very excited for it and just can't wait for his return. Because if you thought the Chiefs offense looked good with Worthy back, then I honestly think they potentially would have won week 1 against the Chargers had Worthy been healthy, but that throws out your game plan. You're having Juju Smith-Schuster run Worthy routes, Hollywood trying to run Worthy routes, and Hollywood was injured the back half of training camp and preseason. So, yeah, it's going to do a lot. It's going to do a lot for the offense, to say the least. Did Jalen Royals do anything in this game? No. He had a kick return, I think. I think that was it. He did play some snaps later in the game when they pulled a lot of the starters. I saw Jalen Royals in there. Did Wiley retire? Are you talking about Jared Wiley? He's just been inactive every week, just like Elijah Mitchell. Jackson Dart is the next Spencer Rattler. Okay. That was random. Maybe somebody's talking about it in chat. Let's be honest. A.J. Brown wants out of Philly. Brett Veach, bring us A.J. Brown. I would love it. He's a great wide receiver that I feel like is underutilized, and the Chiefs would utilize him a bit more, but I don't think wide receiver is what's really needed at this point in time. Maybe next offseason is a different conversation entirely, because if Travis Kelce does retire, remember, he's getting paid $20 million this year, so that is a pretty big cap hit. Travis Kelce, $20 million. But if he calls it quits, retires, rides off into the sunset, hangs up the cleats, whatever you want to call it, that's going to free up $20 million. And that's a pretty good number to go get some additional skilled position player help. Remember the last time there were 2 wide receivers on the field named Brown and Rice? I mean, it's been a minute. I don't even know if you're just talking Chiefs, you might be throwing it back even further than that. But has Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice ever even played together? No. I think 1 snap during preseason. That was it. What practice squad players do you think have the best chance of getting signed to the 53 by the end of the season? No idea right now. Hopefully you don't have to worry about that because the roster stays healthy. The only time you're going to see stuff like that, and I could pull up the Chiefs practice squad, but the only time you really need to worry about stuff like that is when injuries hit the room, right? So most of the guys that are on the practice squad are on the practice squad for a reason, but like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Mike Edwards, safety Mike Edwards, those are 2 guys that if you had an injury to the running back room or the safety room, I could easily see them. Marlon Tuipulotu, the defensive tackle. Those are a few. But other than that, you don't really want a lot of these guys on the 53 because if they are, it means injuries hit the room. Where's your dog? She's right here. I wonder if I can I turn on my camera? Sometimes it lets it work. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. I updated my phone, so maybe it actually won't work. But she's right here. She's just laying down. Les1 with the 5. Thank you so much. What is the role for Thornton if 4 is back, deep ball or quick pass? Primarily your deep ball guy, for sure. I think you could use Thornton a little bit more than that. Obviously, he just caught another touchdown pass last week, and it was an 11-yard pass. So he can be worked. Think of maybe like Justin Watson-esque. Not the same type of receiver, but you can use him deep ball. You can also use him to stretch the field, be a distraction. But you can also use him on some quick passes. But I think quick passes primarily, that's Rice and Worthy. Kelce. Some of those guys. Casey with the 5. I like 2 more games with Mahomes working with this group. Will make it even better when Rice comes back. Please no injuries before then. Yeah, please. I mean, in a perfect world, he's back now. You go with him to Jacksonville, and it opens up the offense even more. And then, more importantly, it's not more importantly in the sense of the schedule because it's an NFC team, but I just think they're an absolute buzzsaw right now, and that's the Detroit Lions. They are after the Jags. So if there was any team that I really would like Rice to be back for, it would be the Jags. But yeah, of course, you can't. So he is going to be able to develop more rapport with other guys on the roster. And I think Hollywood Brown's looking a little bit better. Worthy returning is awesome. So there are some definite positives here. That Ravens team, man. Yeah, the Chiefs really stifled them on their defense, stifled that offense, which was awesome. But that defense was so banged up. Like, the Jags defense is going to be a couple steps up above the Ravens defense that the Chiefs just played. What are us Chiefs fans sleeping on the potential threat of Jalen Royals? Why are we sleeping on it? I don't know that anybody's sleeping on it. We just don't really know what role he's going to have in the offense as a rookie. He has been injured. He's barely getting used. And then even if they slightly start to increase his snap count, Rice is going to come back and eat into all of those snaps. So I don't know that anybody's really sleeping on the threat of Jalen Royals. I think we're all optimistic and cheering him on, but I thought he might be used a little bit in the Rice role during Rice's suspension. He got hurt, and I think that really derailed progress and momentum in building that rapport with Mahomes and the Chiefs offense early on. Is Lamar legitimately injured? Or did he just remember Chris Jones' 40 time? No, he's definitely injured. The reports are that he could miss 1 to 3 games. So that's kind of where we're at with it. This came out earlier today. So Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson could be out for up to 2 to 3 weeks and is likely to miss Sunday's game against the visiting Houston Texans with the hamstring injury. I think they have an early bye week, so some speculated he might even be out until after the bye week. And then I saw some additional footage after the game. He was getting his hamstring looked at on the sideline and was kind of limping after the game when he got up off the bench. So yeah, I think it was a legitimate injury. Now, somebody asked me, well, if it was a one-score game, would he have kept playing? I maybe. If it was a playoff game, one-score game, would he have kept playing? Possibly. It's all hypotheticals. The reality is the hamstring looks legit, and you don't really want to aggravate a soft tissue injury like that this early on in the season. So, it put him in a really tough spot. There's no way to sugarcoat it, because Cooper Rush is not Lamar Jackson, okay? Not even close. Hannah with the 2, Chiefs defense's biggest test, Lions offense. Yeah, they're down a couple linemen, I think, and we're a little ahead of ourselves with the Lions, but they have a lot of skilled position players. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown. These guys are stacked. Jared Goff's been slinging it in the right system. He's doing really well in Detroit. So that is a very high-powered offense, a very dominant force on that side of the ball. More scary to me than the Ravens, and I thought the Ravens were a really good offense. So it'll probably, you're right, be their toughest task this season. Noel Williams is the next Snead. Hope so, man. Hannah with the 2. I already read that. Thank you. Terry with the 2. Appreciate you. Les 1 with the 5. Thank you so much. I miss Snead. I don't know why he trash talk when Cam Ward said, we asked. Felt so bad for him in his career. I don't know what Snead said to that in response at all, but when your team's 0-4 and you're one of the worst in the NFL and a lot of the biggest metrics out there, I thought what Cam Ward said was fine. He said they're not a good football team right now and they need to do better in almost every facet of the game. And yeah, much respect to Snead. He is a Chief legend in my book, but he's also struggling out there too. Yeah, I talked about the Tyreek Hill injury earlier. It's unfortunate for sure. He might be done forever, but he's already said he's trying to come back for the start of next season. Did D-Hop only have 1 catch? Well, he technically had 0, but the 1 catch that he made was awesome. It was just called back due to a penalty on the Ravens offense. I shared a screenshot of his catch, man, because it was pretty nuts. Like, I don't have the video, but look at this catch. He high-pointed it over Trent McDuffie, whose biggest weakness is the fact that he's 5'11". But yeah, that was a great catch, but it didn't count. Did not count. Chris Mitchell in the house with the membership. Thank you so much. Nebula said, if Tyreek Hill retired, do you think he would retire a Chief? I do. I feel like I heard him say he would retire a Dolphin. I just don't think that that's true. I think at the end of the day, when he's ready to retire, whenever that is, if you actually reflect on your NFL career and know that Andy Reid took the chance on you, stuck with you through some off-the-field BS drama, all that stuff, and helped you become a big asset in the NFL from like a threat standpoint as a wide receiver. And then obviously him being with Mahomes also helped benefit him to get traded and a big contract from the Miami Dolphins. And he won Super Bowl with the Chiefs. So I just think looking back, he'll probably retire a Chief. That's just my opinion. Chances with the Jags. Yeah, I like the Chiefs' chances. I'm not through all of my study right now. I'm halfway through their last game and starting to really get a grasp of how things are going with them. But yeah, they look good. Cohen, their new head coach, is setting a culture, a standard there. They're 3-1. They haven't played like the greatest teams in the world. They played the Panthers, the Jake Browning Bengals. The 49ers are a pretty good team, but they didn't have Nick Bosa. He's out for the season with an ACL. You're down. You didn't have Kittle. He was on IR. So you're down key pieces on both sides of the ball. And I do think that they're playing well. Trevor Lawrence is throwing a lot to his tight ends, even though he has like Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter and stuff like that. But he's throwing a lot to Hunter Long, Brenton Strange, and then running the ball well. Travis Etienne looks really good out of the backfield. I'm super impressed with him and what I've seen so far. Eric with the 2. Leo Chanel continues to impress. Yeah, he kind of is like a Swiss Army knife for the Chiefs. He could pick somebody off, Mark Andrews with one hand. You can put him on the line. I saw a snap earlier where he threw the center aside on a run play and made the tackle on the running back. You can line him on the edge. He's not going to be like the most effective, efficient pass rusher that the Chiefs have, but you can kind of move him all around. And yeah, very impressive. Probably the pound for pound strongest player on the roster. And I don't really know who would debate that. Bowling with Hudson with the 2. Thank you, man. What do you think about Tyquan Thornton so far? Yeah, very impressed. If you average out how he's doing right now through the rest of the regular season, he's on pace for like something ridiculous, 800 and something yards and 11 touchdowns. I don't think that pace continues. That doesn't seem sustainable, especially with Worthy back now and Rashee Rice coming back soon. But I think he's going to have a productive role in this offense. And if Mahomes sees him open deep, he's already earned Mahomes' trust. And I think Pat will take shots downfield. So very impressed with Thornton so far, to say the least. I didn't have like really any expectations of him in the offseason. I don't think I had him making the 53-man roster. I would have to go back and look. But then as you started looking through OTAs and training camp, like pretty early on in training camp, I'm like, yeah, this guy is making the roster. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So he has exceeded expectations, at least of mine, for sure. I'm very happy for him too. Hannah with the 2. Hot take, Chanel is our best coverage linebacker. Might be a bit of a hot take. I would think it's still Drew Tranquil, but if he can keep doing stuff like that, do it again. Do it again. I'm actually curious how the coverage grades kind of rack up all season long. I mean, Leo Chanel, he doesn't have as many coverage snaps as some of the other guys per se. Like he has 34 coverage snaps to Drew Tranquil's 93. But he's got a 90.9 coverage grade. So he's playing well. That's for sure. He's also on a contract year. Contract year is undefeated. And a lot of guys really take things up a notch. I'm just looking at my phone because I want to turn the AC down. I feel like it's hot in here. It's on 72. It just gets hot under the bright lights. Why did Thornton not work out in New England? He's great. New England was going through identity crisis for a few years after Belichick moved on or got let go or whatever you want to call that situation. I think it was a mutually parting of ways, but ultimately Kraft wanted to move on from Belichick. And I think if Kraft had his way, he might have kept Brady around, but Belichick was like the GM as well. So you get rid of Belichick and move on from him, and you just have to restart and reset, and you're going through coaches. You've got Mac Jones, and then Drake May his rookie year, and I think Jacoby Brissett throwing passes. It was a very dysfunctional team, I feel like, and so I think it's a little bit of that. And then Thornton was still growing as a receiver himself. You got to remember, Thornton is like 4 to 5 months younger than Rashee Rice. As crazy as that is to think about, Rice is older than Tyquan Thornton. So Thornton is, I don't think, yet peaked, and he's still getting better and progressing. So those are just a couple of my thoughts. Cole with the red face. Yes, please. Do I have a red face right now? I definitely have a red face when I scream. Ah! Yeah, the blood rushes right to my face when I scream and get excited. Forgot Jared Mayo was the Patriots coach last year. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was, I think, just an internal promotion there. They got Vrabel, though, this year. So, yeah, it was troubling times, I think, for the Patriots, and they're still in troubling times to some degree because the Bills run that division. Do you think there's any advantage to Rashee Rice being fresh with no wear and tear, a disadvantage he hasn't been out there? Yeah, I think there's a bit of both of that, Luke. You're probably correct. He will be coming in super fresh, but it might take a couple games to fully get back into the swing of things. It could be quicker than we think, but he'll be allowed to practice the week of. He's in the building now and can do meetings and all that stuff. So he'll have that aspect of it. But yeah, some of that's like you're going from... That's why the suspension now, just any suspension is kind of difficult because it takes you out of the element, out of real game speed. All your conditioning from training camp and like all that, I feel like is no longer what it was because you then took 6 weeks off. And he was still training and working out, and I'm sure he was still catching passes and running routes and working on himself and like all that stuff. But it's different than real contact and game violence. You know what I mean? Yeah, RIP to Chris Jones' aunt. Yeah, I didn't really talk about that too much, but thank you, Les1, for the 2 and for bringing that back up. Yeah, Chris Jones, he went to his aunt's funeral. I think he flew there Saturday. The funeral was Sunday morning. He then chartered in to the downtown airport and had a police escort to get to Arrowhead. He got there at like 3 o'clock, and the game started at 3:25 or 3:20. So, yeah, he went from kind of an emotional family funeral to then playing in the game, and he had a great game, did a great job. He was interviewed after the game and was just kind of asked about the situation, asked if he had any thoughts to share about his aunt, and he just kept it all private and personal. But yeah, what an ordeal, because that really throws you out of your routine. And Andy Reid said it best, like that stuff, life and death and family, like that all comes before football. But imagine how thrown off you would be from your normal like game day routine. You're home, or I think you're at the team hotel or whatever the night before, but you're up early, you're there, you're getting in the right headspace, you're doing pregame warm-ups, all that stuff. He had none of that. He was on a plane, probably doing high knees, like Russ Wilson, doing some high knees. You know, I'm kind of disappointed with the little amount we have used in Noah Gray. That's interesting. I was just thinking about that the other day. I feel like Gray has been quiet, but then he's made a play or two here or there that's been called back by a penalty. I'm just pulling up his stats. I have to go. PFF's kind of weird sometimes. I need to loop in tight ends and then sort it by Chiefs. I'll pull it up and look at it here, and then I'll let you guys see it. So, yeah, I mean, Noah Gray's only been targeted 6 times, catching 6 for 22 yards. So it hasn't been a lot. But then again, I feel like a couple were called back because of penalties. He's got a long of 10. I do feel like he's not being utilized as much as he maybe have had in previous years, but it's not like he was lighting up the stat sheet. I mean, last year was his best year, 44 catches for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's good tight end 2 numbers. He's not on pace for that right now, I don't think. He's only got 22 yards through 4 games. But maybe that picks up, and who really knows? Because the reality is he's healthy, or Kelsey is healthy this year and looks really good. So he's getting utilized more. The wide receiver room is deeper. Rice isn't out for the season. He'll be back. You've got Worthy, who knows his role. I think the wide receiver room's a little bit deeper. Hollywood Brown's back. Juju Smith-Schuster is year 2 back in the system after spending a brief stint with the Patriots. So there are some factors at play there. We'll see. Maybe he comes alive in a couple games for Mahomes a little bit later, but has been a little quieter than expected. I think you're right. Marcus with the gifted. Thank you so much, man. How are you? Tom with the 5 bomb. What up, C-Man? What's up? Come to Nashville and hang for the Titans game. Chiefs going to put a 30 burger on the Titans. Oh, man. When is that? If I go to Chiefs schedule, it does get a little bit easier in the back half because you got the Jags coming up on Monday Night Football. Let me zoom in. Jags coming up on Monday Night Football. You got the Lions after that, but then Rice returns. So you got Raiders, Commanders, who are kind of struggling. Jaden Daniels has been dealing with a knee sprain. He hasn't played in the last couple games. You have the Bills. That's going to be a big game. That's a tough one for sure. There's no way around that. You've got your Week 10 bye, but then you got Broncos, Colts, who are playing really well, the Cowboys, who I don't think are a great team, but we'll see. You then have the Texans, you have the Chargers, the Titans are Week 16, 4 days before Christmas, and then you have the Broncos on Christmas. I feel like the Broncos are a bit underwhelming to me right now, but they did just win very handedly against the Bengals, for what that's worth. The Raiders are not looking that good either. So, when Rice comes back, which one player does it help the most? Patrick Mahomes. But if you're talking what other player could it help? Travis Kelce, probably. Even he's still having a great season. I think it probably helps Kelce. For sure. Who's getting benched when 4 is back? What's up, Island Hacker? I think you probably, because Rice doesn't actually take up a roster spot right now. He's on the reserve suspended list. So to bring him back, unless there's just some other injury that happens before then, which, knock on wood, all that, knock on forehead, fingers crossed, that's not going to happen. I think Jason Brownlee is the odd man out. He's played less than 10 snaps a game and has barely been targeted at all. So I think Jason Brownlee is the odd man out in the wide receiver room, and then Rice just takes his number as far as they have this many receivers. They let Brownlee go. Maybe he's on the practice squad, and then Rice kind of takes that spot. Tom with the 2. Do you see us making a running back pickup at the deadline? I think there's a possibility. I bet you Veach will take some calls, make some calls, and kind of see what's out there and what's around, what's available. The question is, what do you have to give up? How much does it actually move the needle in the running back room? And is it worth it? And then the other X factor of the equation, which I've talked about earlier, is how is Rashee Smith looking? Because the trade deadline's like, what, October 4th? No. No. When's the trade deadline? It's November 4th, maybe? When is the NFL trade deadline? It is November 4th. So you still have a month of football. I mean, by November 4th, the Chiefs will have played... This is how many more games they'll have played. They'll have played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, then their bye week. The trade deadline's on Tuesday immediately after this game. But you got 5 more games to see what Rashee Smith has. Maybe you could test a little bit of the waters with Elijah Mitchell or just see if Pacheco can kind of work through some things. I mean, Pacheco's in year 4. I think you know what you have in Pacheco. So, yeah, I think there's a possibility they make some calls. Will it actually happen? Great question. Now, you could call up Carson Steele. Tate, Carson Steele doesn't have juice either. If you want a difference maker, it's not Steele. They got CEH on the practice squad. It's not him either. But who do you go and get? Great question. What do you have to give up? How much is it going to cost? You got to weigh all that into consideration, or whatever you call it, when factoring in making a move. And then will the other team play ball? Because the other team's like, oh, this is the Chiefs? Yeah, we'll give this guy up for a third. It's like, you guys can have him for a third. But the Chiefs are like, what about a fourth? No, we're not doing that. Okay. Solos with the dollar bill. What up, man? Thank you. Cole, if you had to put 5 mods at skill positions, who would go where? Oh my gosh. I have no idea. We'll put Jennifer. We're going to put Jennifer as the center just because I feel like she holds the offense together. What else do we got? That's a funny question. Marcus, he's going to have to run some routes. I'm going to need FLDB to possibly throw, and Brand to be the running back. Those are a few for you. Rick Barry, Cole, you're a cool cat, my guy. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Can I have a shout out for spamming or not? Well, you can't have a shout out for spamming, but shout out to you, Chiefs fan. Our defense is making me wonder what the heck happened week 1. I think Justin Herbert was on a heater, and they didn't expect them to come out so pass heavy. And then just some miscommunications and misexecution in the secondary, combined with Justin Herbert having a very, very, very good game. How does one work for you? What's up, Jacob? Work for me? Like you need a job or what? What can you have to send me an email or something. Like in what capacity? What's up, Jacob? Solos with the 5 after the dollar. Hey, Cole, what does your week look like to study and prepare for the upcoming team that we are playing? Love the content. Thanks, man. Basically, what I try to do is after, let's just say it's an average Sunday game, Monday, I do the recap. And when I do the recap, I will watch the game again all the way through. And I've been watching the coach's film. So I'll watch both angles of each play and kind of pause sometimes and look at certain things that I'm seeing. And that sometimes takes about 2.5 to 3 hours. Do the recap. And that's Monday night. I'll then typically just watch the Monday Night Football game, and then Tuesday, I'm already sort of turning the page. So I'm already halfway through the Jags and 49ers game, and I've already listened to like 3 or 4 podcasts covering the Jags. I listen to about as many podcasts as I can on the team, watch a game or two, look at a bunch of their stats, and then I'll interview a creator that covers the team. I'm doing that on Thursday night with the Jacksonville Jaguars creator. And then I'll listen to every preview video I can find, from PFF to the NFL. I'll probably listen to like 5 to 10 preview videos if they have that many. And then I just kind of formulate my own opinion through all that. And when I do my own Friday, by the time I do my own Friday preview, I probably have 10 hours of content consumed by that time. And that's just kind of my process. It can change from week to week. If it's a team I know a lot more, maybe it's a little bit less study. Like the Ravens, I didn't do as much study because I watched them on Monday Night Football, and I was well aware of who they were. I'd been following their games prior to that as they were slated to be one of the top AFC teams heading into the season. So that's just kind of my process. That shirt is wild. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. You've got somebody catching a ball, Mahomes holding the ball. You've got a ref saying touchdown. It's Made Mob. All my shirts that I wear are Made Mob, but it's pretty cool. There's a lot going on, though. Cole, where's the person in your background? Why don't you have him there anymore? He got fired. No, I'm just playing. It's Alex, editor Alex. He works from home now. He was in training when he was working over here, but now he's got his own computer, his own monitors, his own desk, his own network attached storage. Like all of his stuff is at his house now, and he doesn't have to commute 30 minutes to where I live and back anymore. He can just wake up and start grinding out content. But yeah, free thinker. Yeah, I try to consume as much content as I can. And I really like to follow credentialed reporters of the team the week of too. So if it's somebody from The Athletic or some credentialed media member of that team, and it's that, yes, but then I find I have a lot of benefit of just watching a game or two that the team recently played. That helps me a lot. Because, like, you can always get opinions from people, and that's where sometimes I'll try to lean on, like, credentialed media guys for, like, injuries and just context on the team that I don't understand. But I like to use my eyeballs and just watch the team, and I find that brings a lot of value for me personally. The top RCV yards, receiving yards, you see Worthy getting in a game, the top. I mean, he had 121 scrimmage yards. That's quite a bit. See him getting in a game like ever, healthy? Well, what did he get in the Super Bowl? Because he would have to top that. Most receiving yards, Xavier Worthy in a game. What was it? Yeah, this is only showing regular season. It was like 100 and something. I could pull up his game log from last year. He had 157 in the Super Bowl. I mean, if he ever tops that, I will be very impressed. Because before that, he had 79, 65, 85. 157 is going to be hard to match. Antoine, with the membership, I see us having another amazing game this week as well. Defense has been doing better since week 1. I agree. I have been very happy, very pleased with the defense. Obviously, there is some concerns there, the pass rush or lack thereof at times. There was a lot against the Giants, and then you have to that's not a great team. Okay, it's not a great O-line, but hey, it was a step in the right direction. The Ravens, you have to play Lamar super differently. Like, they're like sending 4, but backing off on 1, and he's like your shallow spy. You have to contain Lamar. Don't let him run on you. I just think the way that you play him is weird. And so some of the pressures or lack thereof, depending on the player, like, you don't really know their assignment and what they were supposed to do because they're probably intentionally not trying to get after Lamar the same way you would get after, I mean, really anybody else that's not a dual threat quarterback, which there's a lot more these days, but Lamar is probably the most dangerous one for sure. But very happy with the defense as a whole. Just need that pass rush to step it up a little bit more. And I think they are trending in the right direction for sure. Marcus with a 5, not football related, but I just saw they're making a Simpsons 2 movie. Sounds exciting. Oh, nice. I haven't watched anything Simpsons in like 20 years, but I don't dislike them. I don't know, man. I never got into the adult cartoon scene. That's just me personally. If I'm going to watch a cartoon, I'm like throwing it back to the 90s. Give me my childhood back. Give me the animated Batman. And now that I have kids, like, I'll do that. But there's just something, like, I would rather watch football. Just give me the lamest game possible, and I'm going to watch it. Rachel with the 31 months. What's up, Rachel? Hey, Cole and chat. How are the vibes this week? Love seeing the Chiefs looking more like themselves, clapping those Ravens cheeks or feathers. Well, we don't really know, just because it's a delayed week because of Monday Night Football, so I haven't seen any of the players' interactions, practice, pressers, nothing. But I will say, like, the vibes in general have to be better. You're coming off of a great win. Yeah, you're 2-2. The Jags are a tough opponent, but you have to be feeling good, especially about the win. Now you're just next chapter. You're moving on to the Jags. I feel like vibes are good. I feel pretty good overall, personally. What about you guys? How do you feel about the Jags and the ability for the Chiefs to beat them on, like, a scale of 1 to 10? What's your confidence level right now? I know it's early. I say over under 130 yards for his best receiving yards a game. There might be a chance he gets over again. Yeah. Like this year, I don't know. But in his NFL career, absolutely could do it. That's like 2 deep shots and then a couple intermediate shots if you connect on them. Like, Worthy could have had that last game. He and Mahomes are off on a couple deep balls down the field. He caught one, was off on a couple more. If those are hauled in, I mean, you're looking at over 130 just in his first game back. What's up, Caleb, with the 5 bomb? I'm a Jags fan, but I have a lot of respect for the Chiefs. Monday Night Football will be a banger. 2 of the top defenses in the NFL competing. Heck yeah, bro. Yeah, much respect. Thanks so much for the 5 bomb. And yeah, I don't have any nothing really towards the Jags. I have respect for Trevor Lawrence. There's just some good ball players on both sides of the ball, really. Josh Hines-Allen. You've got that linebacker that's kind of going crazy, Lloyd, Trayvon Walker. We'll see how he's doing. ETN's playing really well. So yeah, man, it's going to be a good game. I'm excited about it. I think the Chiefs probably win. Like, that's going to be my prediction. I understand I'm a Chiefs fan and a little bit biased, but the Chiefs can't sleepwalk past the Jags. They're going to have to execute. They're going to have to not let that defense get takeaways. Like, they lead the league in takeaways right now. So you can't be throwing INTs, having fumbles that are getting punched out and losing them, because you don't want to give Trevor Lawrence and those guys even more opportunities to try to score and put points up on the board. So, yeah, it's going to be a good game, and I'm very intrigued to see how it plays out for sure, man. Thank you for the 5 and the kind words. Chargers versus Commanders prediction. Oh, man, it's so early in the week, Luke, but the Chargers won't have Joe Alt. They don't have Rashawn Slater, but the Commanders don't have Terry McLaurin potentially still. I don't know if Jaden Daniels will be playing. It might be a wash. I don't know. It might be a coin flip for me. Hannah with the 2. Chiefs can't depend on Butker field goal to win. Yeah, that's a little bit of a concern for sure. And I talked about it in my recap video, but the expectations for Harrison Butker are just so high. Because I've seen some people say, well, we can't negate the sample size that Harrison Butker has had and just pretend like that doesn't exist and just hit the panic button because he's missed 5 kicks in 4 games. Okay, I get it, but it's a little more black and white. As a kicker, you're either making them or you're not. But I think Butker is held to a very high standard because he's the highest paid kicker in the NFL and he's top 4 most accurate kicker in NFL history. So it's kind of like with Mahomes. He's out there, and if he's off on a couple throws, people are like, whoa, hey, what the heck's wrong with Mahomes? He normally hits like all of those. He's one of the best in the NFL for a reason. He should be hitting those. So I think it's the same mindset for me and a lot of others with Butker. It's like, whoa. Yeah, I know that was a 55-yarder, but what the heck? That's the best kicker in the NFL. He hits those. He makes those. What is going on? So I think that's just what it is. It's not like there's not a need for me to overreact about Harrison Butker, but it's definitely like, man, you've almost missed like 7 kicks in 4 games because he doinked one in. He almost missed an extra point last game. It was like it snuck in. And that was right after he missed a field goal earlier. But all in all, he was 7 for 8 in the game. So it's not like we're not going to panic. But he has not been as automatic this year as he has in years past. That's for sure. Chiefs fan said, you're going to go to a game this year? I do want to go to a game this year. That was the plan last year as well. Me and my wife were going to go, and she got sick like a few days before the game. We ended up staying home, and it was the Chiefs-Broncos game where the Chiefs won on a block, the walk-off blocked field goal. Sneak said, Butker's carried us for some seasons, won us Super Bowls, need to be patient with him. Yeah, you definitely, you have to be patient with Butker because you can't get out of his contract. And I'm not even saying they should, but you signed him to that massive extension last offseason just before the season started. You can't really get out of that contract. It's a bit of a mess to try to even entertain that idea. So you just need to be patient and just let him work through it a little bit. But yeah, score more touchdowns. That would be helpful. Don't have Butker have to kick 8 times in a game unless it's like 5 extra points, Score 7. Cole reaction to the Broncos is one to remember. Yeah, I'll never forget that one. Oh, I forgot it in the moment, but I've seen the reaction a few times since then. Holy smokes. You're trying to go to Chiefs versus Colts? My brother is a Colts fan. That'd be a good one, Jacob. That'd be an awesome one. Tom with another 2-bomb. You hear peeps wanting back the old TD song again? No. What is that? What's going on? Cole sent you an email to the address on your YouTube and a Facebook message about the Hope. Oh, you sent me an email? Okay, bet. To the address on my YouTube. You need to send it to this one. It's this one. Cole at hbtchiefs.com. Can you send it to that one? Yeah, score more TDs. That would help. What's your estimated scores on Chiefs Jags? John, it's early. I don't know that I have a score prediction yet. I'm just not there. I'm still studying Jags a little bit and then I need to get a grid on their injury report and some other factors. I do think the Chiefs probably win it, but just like with every other game, any given Sunday, got to come out, got to execute. You're going to have to take advantage of some of the tendencies, and then we'll see about the injury reports and kind of go from there. And we have so many tough games this year, not going to lie. Yeah, when you finish top seed in the AFC or one of the top in the AFC, you're going to get tougher schedules. I feel like it's like that every single year for the Chiefs. I feel like it's like that every single year. Do we know what uniforms we will be in? I want the white on white again. I don't know. But that's my favorite jersey, though. White on white, that's my favorite one. So fresh, clean. Heck yeah. What do we got going on? Cole, are the Chiefs at home? No, they're traveling to Jacksonville. They'll be playing down in Florida. Do you think the time differences have a major impact on games? Nah. What is that, an hour time difference? I don't think so. No. Now, the time difference to go to Brazil, that flight, the 11-plus hour flight and a 2-hour bus ride, yeah, that absolutely makes a difference. But nah, an hour here or there, I don't think it makes a big difference. Especially the Chiefs. Like, think about the average team that is, I'm going to sound spoiled, but I'm not trying to come off like that, but just the average team that hasn't had the success of the Chiefs. Think of the Chiefs in like the 2000s, early 2000s. A lot of noon games. You're very used to your time. It's a morning. But the Chiefs, like now, they're playing Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, Friday night, all the holidays, traveling here, doing this, doing that. They're playing at a bunch of random times. And I think that is probably harder than just most Sundays at noon. But it's champagne problems. It's the cost of having success. How many targets do you think Thornton will get? He only had 2 last game, but I think the Ravens were beat up in the middle of the field, so you got Juju out there, and he was getting more looks because of that. I wonder if you get a little bit more looks to Thornton in this one because of personnel and just how the Jags, how much they run zone, and how good they are and have been in the middle of the field. Maybe you get Thornton outside a little bit more and target him a few more times. But I could see, I said this before the season started or early in the season, if Thornton was like Justin Watson numbers, I feel like that's a win to me. He's trending more than that right now, but I think it was out of necessity because you didn't have Rice or Worthy. I think that'll taper off just a little bit. Jake Brenningstool gets activated for this game? No, but he can return from IR this week. His return window can open up this week along with Najee Johnson's. I don't know if they do that or not. And even if Jake Brenningstool, his window to return is opened up, I don't know. What are you supposed to do with him right now? Because you already have Jared Wiley, who is inactive. So you have Kelsey, Noah Gray, Robert Tonyan. They've been active. Jared Wiley, still on his rookie deal in his second year of his rookie deal. He's been inactive. So I don't know what you do with Brenningstool, to be honest with you. I'm really not sure. Tom with another 2-bomb. Weather might impact the game. 2 storms out there. Ooh. Yeah, that's interesting. The weather could play a factor if it's super stormy. Yeah, I can make it a little bit more problematic for sure. Who knows Jags wide receiver? I can't even name one. Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter would be the main 2. I don't know if I could name another after that. Parker Washington, he's kind of their return specialist, would be the other. They do kind of, like, after that, just have some guys, but they've been functioning really well. So I think Brian Thomas Jr. is a great receiver. He's had some drop issues this year. But Travis Hunter, a lot of people know Travis Hunter. He's playing wide receiver and cornerback. He's played on both sides of the ball. I was looking up his snaps by position on PFF, and he's played all kinds of defense as well. Yeah, BTJ, he is a stud for sure. Travis Hunter versus Worthy will be a crazy matchup to watch. Yeah, heck yeah. You're tired of the black? What does that mean? What does that mean? Nobody ever says this, but Juju's got to be the most underrated receiver in the league, blocks insanely well, and has produced in the passing game. Yeah, I don't know, most underrated in the league. I don't know about that, but I know he has a lot of value to the Chiefs roster, and he's on a vet min deal. The value he brings, just the blocking, the leadership, the veteran mentorship, what he can do in the middle of the field as a QB-friendly option for Patrick Mahomes. Great against zone. He's had a lot of yards after the catch. He's forced the most missed tackles out of everybody on the roster. He's had 6. Brashard Smith has had 3 forced missed tackles, and he's only had 3 receptions, which is pretty crazy to me. Yeah, I think I read something extremely out of context because I just saw somebody say something. I was like, what are y'all talking about over there? Barbara with the $10 super sticker. Thank you so much. Isaiah said, Steelers fan here. We miss Juju. He's certainly not underrated. I wonder if he's a bit more underrated now at this stage in his career, coming off of like a couple of more down years since the 2022 season when he had almost 1,000 yards with the Chiefs. He dealt with some injuries, kind of was a castaway with the Patriots. Like, they cut him before the season started, and then they signed him to a multi-year deal. I don't remember what the contract was, but the Chiefs offered Juju something. The Patriots offered him more. He took the deal with the Patriots, only lasted, I think, a season there. So, yeah, I think he's bounced back even since that. He's gotten healthier. He's taken his health a little bit more serious. This is per his words over the course of the last few months during his pressers. And yeah, I think he's a valuable asset to the team on a vet min deal. Like, he's one of the most valuable players, I think, for the cost. Like, not on a rookie deal. Probably on the whole entire roster. Cole Xavier Worthy seemed like his shoulder was not hurt. He played well. He did play really well, but he was shying away from contact almost all game, which is fine. If you don't have to get hit and take a shot to that shoulder, don't do it. But that's why he would sometimes just go straight out of bounds. Or I don't know if you saw a couple times he like fell over awkwardly when he was going to get tackled. He just like dropped to the ground, and I was like, whoa, what just happened? He didn't want to get hit in the shoulder. But outside of that, he was moving around great. I agree with you. But it's fine if he's going to be injured. That shoulder is going to be banged up until he potentially most likely gets off-season shoulder surgery to address it, and he's just going to be limited in some of that and shy away from contact from time to time. Yep, Worthy's a very smart player. I agree. I will take that if that's how he performs each week. Exactly, Jacob. If you want to fall down, he kind of reminded me of who was the Seahawks receiver? Was it Tyler Lockett? The dude would like always avoid hits. He would often like fall down quite a bit, but he had like a super prolonged career and was relatively healthy because he didn't take a lot of hits. That's how Worthy to some extent reminded me. That's who he reminded me of last week. Yeah, Lockett. Yep, Lockett. But I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me at all. Cole, you ever see the tackle Juju put on Vontaze Burfict? Yeah, when he was with the Steelers. Yeah, after he did what he did to Antonio Brown. Yep, I did. What's up, Chris? Huge Chiefs fan? Heck yeah, bro. How are you? Hope you're having a good night. I miss the crazy trick plays we used to do, but our offense just looked better. Yeah, at this point, it's like, can you just operate at a above average level and function as an offense? And part of that is the O-line meshing and gelling still on the left side for sure. Jawan needs to quit drawing flags, which he's doing better. But then you're down Rice because he's suspended. So Worthy is now getting worked back into the rotation as well. But the run game isn't that explosive. So you're dealing with like all this kind of madness, and the two receivers not being around put a lot more stress on everybody else. The offense shouldn't have to function solely through Travis Kelce anymore at the age of 35. And I'm not even being disrespectful because I think he's still a great player, and he's going to be a great second or third option all season long after the return of Rice. And that's where he's going to flourish. His snap count last game, guys, was 60-something%. 67? 67? It was something like that. And I feel like he looked really... He was rested and came out flying around real well. and some of those plays. De'Ami Brown is another Jags wide receiver that's been solid. He's just injured right now, and they don't know if he'll be active on Sunday. Parker Washington. Yeah, I saw Tim Patrick as well. And Parker Washington, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he have like an 80-something yard punt return to the house last week? So you got to watch out for that. They have other guys for sure. I feel like the tight ends are who Trevor Lawrence has really been going to. 2 or 3 tight ends have been getting a lot of work in, and then ETN. ETN in the pass game too, but also on the ground. He's looking really good. Yeah, he's looking really good. Is Justin Ross starting this week? Yeah. No, he's not even on the roster. Old Justin Ross, though. Cole, would you ever have Nate Taylor on for an interview? Yeah, of course. I've never really talked with him much, but I have a lot of respect for him. I've had I've had Seth on the channel a bunch. He's coming back on, I think, next week. I've had a bunch of people that are in the same space as him. But yeah, if I could ever get him on and it worked out, I would be honored to have him. That's for sure. He's busy, man. He's with ESPN now. But maybe one day we can get him on here. It would be a cool one. Would you trade a wide receiver to boost another area of the team? For a running back, maybe, but who? Because injuries hit the room and then you need that depth. So I am a little bit reserved to say yes on that one. Seth, dude, is a great way of explaining film. Yeah, he's coming on, I think, every month for twice a month for the rest of the season, guys. If you didn't know that, Seth will be on quite a bit, which I'm excited about because I love taking what he says and talks about and having Alex, our editor, bring that to life so everybody can see it. It's very helpful. You saw me at McLean's Bakery? I don't even know what that is. McLean's Bakery? I'm looking at it now. Are you sure? I mean, I've probably been in there. Has it just been a long time? Maybe it's been a while. Call it the worthy flop. LOL, learned from LeBron. Yeah, he's just protecting that shoulder. Ooh, Tucker from KCSN. That'd be a fun one. Yeah, we chat in the DMs. He's a good dude. Are you concerned about Josh Simmons going against Hines Allen? I know Simmons has been solid so far, but Hines Allen is a very good edge rusher. Yeah, Caleb, I think Josh Hines Allen, maybe he's not, and again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I don't know that he's in the upper echelon elite tier of pass rushers, but I think he's right under that, which is still obviously very good. And it's going to be one of the toughest competition pieces that Josh Simmons has had to go up against, bar none. And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. If you think Josh Hines Allen is in that upper echelon, it's fine. I don't have a lot of guys in that upper echelon. It'd be for me, the upper echelon QBs. I'm talking, when you're talking upper echelon pass rushers, I'm like Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Nick Bosa. There's not a lot of guys that I would put in that category, but I would have him the next tier down. And that is a guy that can be a problem on any given play as well. Maybe not as consistent, as consistently problematic as the top tier guys in my eyes. But yes, Josh Simmons is going to have his hands full for sure. And they're going to have to be well aware of Josh Hines Allen at all time, especially if Trayvon Walker's not what's going on with him? What's going on with him? Is he going to play? I don't really know. So yeah, that's going to be a very tough matchup for sure, man. You think Taylor's engagement plans will slow him down enough to not jump early in upcoming games? Maybe. Joanne, thanks so much for the $5 super sticker. Appreciate you guys. The game's on Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football in Jacksonville. When are we doing a meet and greet, broski? Man, I did one a couple years ago when the draft was here, but we should do another one. Here's where I struggle. I'm just a homebody, super introverted, and I feel like the idea of a meet and greet is kind of boisterous, loud. And again, I think I just need to get out of this mindset because I just legitimately think a lot of you would just like to come say hi and hang out as friends, acquaintances, Chiefs fans, and just talk shop about the Chiefs. I need to get out of my head, but I feel like it's like, hey, look at me. HBTC is going to be out and about and come hang out and do this because I'm important. And that's like the exact opposite of how I think about myself. I just literally think about myself as the same guy I've always been. So I have a hard time with that. And I think I just need to get my mindset out of that and just be like, no, I think there's just a lot of people in this community that are awesome and we've built a great community and it would just be fun to like put names to faces and like hang out a little bit. So I definitely want to do another one. I need to just kind of get past that mindset and just get something scheduled. Don't worry, Cole, just buy everyone drinks and we'll be cool. Hey, we should get a whole... We went to Boulevard last time and it was an open bar. We did do that. Leave a beer on Gmaw's porch. LOL, all good, my friend. Yeah, Dave, at the time, I was willing... I didn't really know you, but I was willing to say hi, but you left so quickly I couldn't even say hi. Cole, I'm going to a college game this weekend. Ooh, nice. Nice, Tug. Who are you going to see? Tom with the 2, have any plans to go to Pat Trav's new steakhouse? Nothing like penciled in, but I'll definitely take Danny, my wife, there. That'd be fun. Introverts. You don't drink, Cole? Well, you wouldn't have to drink even if it was at a bar. Yeah, I'm like extra intra. I can perform on camera. I feel like I'm good at having conversations with people in public. I used to do retail sales, but I would... like my preference, and that's why I don't go to a lot of Chiefs games. Even before doing YouTube, like going to a Chiefs game, it's an overwhelming experience, even though it is fun. But I would only go to one a year at most, just because I just preferred to sit down on the couch and like hang out with my family and watch the game and have food with them. And that's just kind of how I have always been. Going to see Alabama versus Vandy, college game day. Nice. I hope you have a good experience at that. I haven't been to a lot of college games. Sushi said, I'm your first fan in the USSF. Really? Let's go. What's the USSF? What? The U.S. Space Force? Is that what that is? I feel like an idiot that I don't know what that is. What is it? My wife is a Steelers fan. She's thinking AFC Championship at Arrowhead versus the Steelers. Oh, gosh. Okay, it is Space Force. Okay, that's what I thought. But I was like, is this a country? And I don't know what the abbreviation is. Okay, but the U.S. Space Force. It's a space service branch of the United States. Yeah, I feel like that got announced like last year, right? Or something. Nice, dude. Love that. Yeah, I don't think the Steelers are going to make it. Well, I don't know. What if they win their division? I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is not looking that good. I mean, they're winning. We'll see. We will see. Hey, cheering on the Chiefs from Mars. Heck yeah, dude. Just invite all your fans over to your house so we can all sit around the couch and drink beers. Oh, that would get crowded. This is a small house. Cole, what are your thoughts on receivers not being able to run after catch on the deep ball? Not a big issue. Glad the deep ball's back, but it would be nice to see. Yeah, I think some of that will come with time. I think some of the deep balls, it's like maybe it's that receiver had to pull up a little bit and they're getting tackled, or sometimes that receiver is diving for the ball when maybe they could have stayed up. But you're right, there hasn't been one of those where it's like they catch it perfectly in stride and just keep running all the way to the end zone. I think that'll come with time, but dude, I'm honestly not that picky because the deep ball has basically been Casper the Friendly Ghost for a couple of years, invisible, non-existent, not real, fake. And so the fact that they are doing that this year at a pretty frequent basis in comparison to years prior, I'm just happy that they're taking aggressive shots down the field at this point in time. I think it'll come with time. You're going to your first NFL game this year, Chiefs versus Titans? Heck yeah, bro. That'll be awesome. I've heard some people say, and anybody in chat that's been, there's 600 of you in here, anybody that's been to college games, I have heard some people say Arrowhead is like almost like a college level experience as far as just, I don't even know how to explain it. Just from what I've understood, because I've only ever been to Arrowhead when I go to an NFL game, but I've heard that that can be like a diehard college experience at Arrowhead in the way that people act from basically when you get there to when you leave. Not necessarily all like college students, but just anybody that's been to college games, confirm if that's even remotely true, or am I tripping? So is Mahomes washed? I don't think so. Way louder, though. Oh, yeah, heck yeah. Elgin, what's up, dude? Top 3 season-altering injuries so far this year? I mean, Tyreek's a really new one. Malik Neighbors is a big one. Nick Bosa is a big one. Who else? Those are some pretty big ones. I'm sure there's some that have happened earlier. Rashawn Slater with the Chargers is a pretty big one. Bro, he had no receivers for the first 3 weeks. Give him a break. Yeah, I'm not tripping about that. You're correct about Arrowhead being like a college vibe. And why? Like, why is that? Because haven't really been to a college game, and I've really only been to Chiefs games. So why would that be? You see Adam Schefter's tweet about Tyreek? Which one? Been to a bunch of Rams games when Trent Green, Kurt Warner QB, and it wasn't anything like a KC game. Okay. It's like it was just like a little bit next level. Cole is amazing. Jennifer is center. Grenady. Exactly. Arrowhead has a college vibe because of the marching bands, bro. What? Really? You worried about Jags whooping the Chiefs? No, not whooping the Chiefs. I don't think so. Hey, Cole, did you see Liam Cohen get into it with Robert Saleh? Andy Reid better be careful. Yeah, I thought how Liam Cohen did that with Saleh was kind of weird, though, because this is what he did. I'm going to show you exactly what he did. All right, can you guys hear me? Yeah, you guys can hear me. All right, so this is what he did. All right, so they're walking, and he, like, walks by him, right? So he doesn't say it to his face. Cohen just, like, walks by Saleh, and then he's got, like, a few of his linemen in front of him. Like, Cohen has, like, a few of his offensive linemen in front of him. Then he's like, keep my name out of your mouth. And then Saleh's like, what'd you say? He's like, I said, keep my name out of your mouth. And then that's when he got tough a little bit because he had multiple 300-pound guys to hold him back, a.k.a. protect him. I thought it was a little like, dude, if you're going to say that, you need to walk. I mean, and the reality is Robert Saleh would, that guy would mess you up. But you need to go up to his face and say it to his face. But that was the only thing. Like, I don't really care that much, but he walked by. Then he said it. And Saleh's like, what? So that was my only thing. But I did find the interaction entertaining, to say the least. But I still was kind of like, bruh, you really like walked by him and then got like social distancing in between y'all before really acting aggressive about it? That was my only thing. Yeah, but to be fair, Robert Saleh he's a yoked individual. He could probably play on the field. You see how Henry Ruggs is trying out for the Giants? Yeah, that was a fake post. But I actually read it and I was like, what? I thought he was still in prison. So I actually went and looked it up because I'm like, this can't be real. I thought he was in prison for years. And yeah, it was a troll post. He tried the tough thing. Yeah, that was the funniest thing about the interaction. I didn't actually mind that he said that, but I'm like, bro, you waited until you walked by and you had like several of your offensive linemen in front of you. Thought that was funny. Schefter reported his agent. Oh, yeah. I did see that, Cody. Yeah. I think I might have retweeted that, maybe. Trying to see if I can find it. Maybe I didn't, though. Yeah, so the surgery of Tyreek's knee was successful. They're not going to have to do a second one, and he's aiming to be back by the beginning of next year. I mean, that is a tough ask. Maybe he will. You should ask Rice for an interview. I could try, man. It's hard to get Chiefs players on here. I'm not going to lie. And I'm just not very good at it, but they don't really have any benefit from interviewing here. It's not like it's a big network or anything like that. But I'll try. I could definitely try, man. Yep. Duval. Dude, that Duval he did was great. We might still have it somewhere. Yeah, I don't know if I have it like ready. But man, that Duval was so good when he first got hired, dude. I loved it. Cole, is it better to get a good receiver or a good running back? Which one influences the game more? Oh, man. That's a great question. I just think it's so tough because it really depends on the team, how you build the team. Is your O-line run? Like, do they excel in run blocking or pass blocking? Who's your quarterback? And then who are your receivers? Who's your skill position players? Like, what does that look like? What kind of system do you guys run? Are you a run first offense? I think it's very dependent. Like, that's my cop-out answer. It's very dependent on the team. But at the same time, if you can find valuable pass catchers and running backs, or at least one, that's what you want in an offense. You want to be able to run the ball or have the run threat that the defense has to respect. And in turn, that'll help out the pass game and vice versa. The pass game starts getting going. You've got legitimate threats, a deep threat or an intermediate guy. And then that opens up the run game. You want to be rounded to some extent. Now, you'll always have offenses that are pass heavy. That's always going to be the Chiefs. And that's why people that's their counter to me sometimes when I say the Chiefs need a dynamic playmaker in the backfield. They say, well, the Chiefs don't run the ball. Who cares? I'm like, well, what about a Jerick McKinnon? That's not a guy that always ran the ball, but he had like 500 receiving yards and 11 touchdowns, I think in 2022, or 7 touchdowns or whatever it was. He was a very valuable piece of the Chiefs offense as a running back, but Jerick McKinnon wouldn't make sense in the Ravens offense as much, if that makes sense, because they're a run-heavy team. So very dependent on the scheme and the system. But right now, I would prefer another running back over a receiver just based on the Chiefs' needs personally. That's just kind of where I am. You think we make a plan for Achane? I don't think so, Colton. The only reason I say that is because I just don't know. Even if the Dolphins are resetting, you still have to keep some of your players. Unless they're going to get some ungodly amount of draft capital, because Achane's still on his rookie deal and he's one of their best players. I think you build around those players that are on their rookie deals if you're in the middle of a reset. Elise, thank you so much for the membership. Song with the 20 bomb as well. Cole, thank you for 2 years of the best and chillest Chiefs coverage in the entire nation. You are the GOAT. That is some extremely high praise, and I'm very glad that you're here, Song, and thanks so much for the kind words. You got the red trim around the Redbeard badge. You've been here for a long time. Thank you so much. Appreciate you so much. They say Arrowhead's like college stadiums because of the atmosphere of the games and how loud the fans are. Most colleges are like that, but most colleges here or have big stadiums that are very loud as well. Okay, that was a very good explanation, Will. Thank you. That's a very good explanation. Yeah, definitely a balance, Jacob. It's kind of a lame answer. In a pass-heavy offense, I think the Chiefs would value a dynamic wide receiver over a dynamic running back. But I think they have enough playmakers in the wide receiver room now, plus Travis Kelce. I know he's on his last year, but that you could use a more dynamic running back in the backfield. And yeah, it might be Rashard Smith. Like, as he gets more acclimated with the offense and he can handle a bigger workload of the playbook and pick up pass protection a little bit and be trusted to run the ball a little bit more. And maybe that will be the plan. But as of right now, I would still, if it's not Rashard Smith getting the increased workload over the next 5 games before the trade deadline, Still like to explore the option of trading for a running back. Chase said, Cole, love your content. Thank you for teaching me. Who has been on the roster for the past 3 years? Heck yeah, man. It's always fun. It's always fun to talk some Chiefs. Do I know Tom Grossi? Yes, I do. Yeah, he's great, dude. He's a real deal. Yeah, a lot of respect for Tom. Perna, too, really. They're both freaking awesome people. Do you think Tyquan Thornton will get the same number of catches when Rice comes back? I mean, I just think if he catches like two to three deep balls a game, that's like perfect. I think that's all you need. And I don't think that would have to go down because Rice doesn't really take that. And then Worthy to an extent can, but doesn't have to either. Ooh, are you going to have Garrett from Football Analysis on anytime soon? Could. I had him on a couple times in the offseason. It'd be fun to do like a mid-season one, maybe during like Chiefs bye week or something. That's a good idea. State of the AFC or something with Football Analysis. That'd be a good one. This is your second or third year here, Marcy? Heck yeah. Yeah, I always appreciate you guys. It's crazy how time flies. Like, we've got some people with like 38-month badges. It's like, what? 3 years ago, I turned on memberships on this channel? It flies. Time flies. I appreciate you guys. It's already been almost 2 hours of streaming. 10:15. I'm going to get off, get ready for a big day tomorrow. We got a long-form video coming out, some more short-form content. But, man, thanks, everybody, for holding it down. Thanks for the mods, the donos, the memberships, all of it. It is a dream come true that I get to do this for a living, and it's not lost on me. And the fact that we get to talk football and just hang out every Tuesday, it's one of my favorite nights of the week. So I appreciate y'all, and we'll be back next live stream, unless there's breaking news. Will be the play-by-play reaction stream. Chiefs, Jags, Monday Night Football. So until next time, let's go. Torch, thank you for the 34-month membership. Let's freaking go.
How about the Chiefs?